All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our channel. I'm Fnan. That is Asha. We are here to talk about Real Housewives of New Jersey. We are here to talk about Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 13, Episode 6 today. Before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Please, we really do appreciate it. Let's get started, right? Like, why not? All right, so here we go. So episode 6 starts with with Marge. She's having actual wrist surgery. Well, actually, no, it doesn't start that way. Sorry. Okay, this episode starts out with Teresa in therapy. And it's so interesting to see because when we think about Teresa, she's very much not for that, but it looks like Louis has inspired her to take on therapy. And she talks about wanting to be more calm and to stop lashing out. And she kind of relates this behavior to her father because her father used to be this way. And she is wanting to be better. And I'm not sure if that came from her or that came from Louis. Either way, like for her to take accountability for that is awesome. And it's showing growth in our mother, Teresa, right?
It really is. Yes.
Yeah. So the therapist ends up bringing up her brother or her relationship with her brother, Joe. And Teresa brings up boys' night and how it didn't go well and how Louis had felt uncomfortable with that altercation that Joe and him had. And she's really upset with the fact that her brother didn't show up to the housewarming. Shit, am I in high school? Yeah, she's really upset with the fact that her brother didn't show up to the housewarming party, and she doesn't want to not speak to her brother anymore. She really loves her brother, and she understands that this is the only family member that she has, and she really would like to try to make things better. And she's also sharing that she's upset with the fact that this is also affecting her children's relationships with her cousins. Melania was really upset with the fact that Antonia didn't show up for her birthday party and wonders if her brother had anything to do with it. And just ultimately, Teresa feels like this relationship's very toxic and she just doesn't want that. And the therapist kind of suggests moving on if he doesn't respond to what you want. And I think she even shared to the therapist that, she had a phone call with him and offered to make peace and still didn't show up to the housewarming party, the kids are not connecting with the cousins are not connecting as well. So she just feels like she's trying and she's not getting anything back from her brother. And so the therapist feels like, hey, if he doesn't respond to what you want, the only thing you can do is to cut him off, to cut off the toxicity. But yeah, what were your thoughts about that? Was there anything missing from that or no?
No, I agree. I think coming from someone who has a mother that's not American, has a family member that's not American, it's very normal in other cultures to not say I love you to family members, but it affects the children the most. So I thought it was great that when Gio was growing up, Teresa reinforced that positive affirmation of I love you, because that's really important for a kid to know. And so I think she grew from that. I think this whole therapy session showed how much she is growing, and maybe Louis is helping. It seems like he is. And she doesn't want to blow up the way she did last year at Marge, even though she thinks Marge deserved it. And I agree. No, I was joking. And I thought it was really sad that she said she was scared of her brother, but I am scared too. Like we all are. Like he is scary because at the
Mhm.
boys' night he didn't need to freak out like that, and he did. And like, what was the point of all that? Like you're just acting like a freak now. And how close Antonia and Melissa are, or yeah, Antonia and Melissa and or not Melissa, Melania.
Melania. Mhm.
And like in the last episode, Antonia said like they didn't have any problems, like they were close no matter what. And she didn't show up to the Sweet 16 because she had a cheer competition. But I just think that's like really sad because wouldn't have Antonia like I mean like I get it, like maybe if she did have a competition like I was a cheerleader, you can't miss that shit.
Mhm.
But I just also think it's really sad.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't know, like the fact that I don't know what else that Teresa has brought up in regards to the cousins' relationships not being good, but I didn't think that the cheerleading thing was like a real like deal breaker because if you have a commitment to something, you have to go to it, like
Mhm.
especially
Mhm.
because she just recovered from her ACL surgery
Mhm.
and like now she's back to being healthy and she really
Nothing
enjoys
she can miss.
cheerleading. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
maybe not something that she can truly miss. So I'm not sure if that example is the right thing, but I don't know. All right, so let's move from there. All right, so we get into Marge. She is recovering from surgery, her wrist surgery. I literally cannot believe that like Marge has to have her husband like wipe her ass because her wrist
It's
is
called your
broken.
other hand.
Right,
Like,
like you could be ambidextrous. Is that the right? That's how you say it?
yes.
Okay, yeah. Like I don't know. It's weird. The way that they have this set up is weird. The scene is like with Marge and Jennifer split up. So just so you guys know. Okay,
Mhm.
so then we cut to Jennifer. Jennifer is having the kids cleaning, and I know that's right. And she's outside talking to her husband about the hangout. Was it? I don't remember what hangout it was. But basically, Jennifer is talking to her husband about a hangout. I noticed during this that Bill seems pretty checked out during this conversation and he's kind of over it. And I just feel like Jennifer needs to like not tell her husband all of the girl gossip all of the time. Um, you know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
but like I was dying because Loki, one of my notes is like Jennifer's like me because she was like, "Don't be nice to Margaret. I don't want you to be nice to Margaret." I would
Yeah,
say that to my boyfriend. I would.
I
And
would
if he
do
was
it too.
nice, and if he was nice, oh, don't worry, I got something for you when we go home. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I think ultimately she's just like really upset with the friend group and like how they're not sticking up for her and how they're supporting
Mhm.
Margaret more than her. And they don't see that they're both wrong. They only see that Jennifer is wrong. And she's telling that to her husband, and her husband does not.
He doesn't get
Her
it, but he
husband's
also doesn't
over it.
care.
And he doesn't care if it feels
He doesn't
like.
care. Yeah.
Mhm. And I just feel like Jennifer needs to talk to other people about this and not her husband. But
Like
that's just how I
Teresa
feel. Yeah, call Teresa, maybe
or
bring a friend of
Danielle.
to the show. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know, like
Or Laura,
you're
where is Marge's friend? Like,
not bring
talk
her
to
up. Like,
her.
whatever.
Yeah, bring like
Yeah.
where is she? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And then we get to now, and then she also says Jennifer also tells her husband to like not be nice to Margaret at the software tournament, which is really funny. Like you said, like I probably would say the same thing too.
Yeah.
And then we get to Margaret and Fessler hanging out for brunch or whatever, or hanging out, and they're talking about Margaret's behavior at brunch. And Fessler, I appreciate this. She called out Margaret's behavior.
Yes.
She was just like,
Yeah.
you can't
You
do
can't act like
this.
that. Like she's like, you're like a classy woman, and classy
Yeah.
women don't act like that.
Yeah. She clocked her, and Margaret was like, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. And,
Hmm.
Fessler could have talked a lot of shit about Jennifer in that moment and talked to Margaret about that, but she didn't. She was just like,
Mm-mm.
she was wrong and you were wrong too. And I loved that.
Harry,
That was really good stand-up
refreshing.
behavior. Yeah,
Yeah, it
because we
was.
don't see things like that in this show.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um And then we get back to Jennifer, and she just seems to think that, like I said before, she just seems to think that no one will stand up to Margaret because she has dirt on everybody.
Yep.
And I think that's something that we even said before
In the last episode,
in the
yeah.
last episode, which is tea.
It's tea.
It's tea. Did you have any thoughts about that scene, or
No, I agree.
was
I
it?
think I was probably referencing this episode
Mhm.
in the last episode because I just remember Jennifer saying, like, no one ever stands up for me, and they
Mhm.
never stand up to Marge because Marge knows everything. And honestly, that's what you've been saying in these past couple seasons, is that Marge talks to everybody because she
She
knows
does.
everyone in Tenafly or Franklin Lakes or wherever the hell they live. So like she definitely
Yeah.
knows tea about like Joe and Melissa, or I don't
Mhm.
know. She'd be knowing shit because no one ever stands up for her. And also I thought it was a little weird that Jennifer was like, and Dolores doesn't say anything. You're not getting along with Dolores. So why would she stand up for you?
Right. Yeah. Um, she does. She's so weird, bro.
That's your
And this
daughter.
is she is my daughter. She's spilling tea though. Like she's right.
Yeah,
Margaret knows everybody's tea. Like I'm not
yeah.
gonna. She's right. And what's crazy too is like she's not saying anything that nobody else hasn't said. Jackie also said this too in the after show. Like you don't want to make an enemy out of Margaret, because if you make an enemy out of Margaret, like she's going to spill your tea. She said that
Mm-hmm.
on the last season, and she also said it in the after show, and even Melissa agreed. So anyways,
Mm-hmm.
we move.
Mm-hmm.
We move to, I think, Dolores, and she's hanging out with her father. That was interesting that he came into her home with the 2-liter bottle of Coke. What? Her family's like really unhealthy, and kind of worried about that. Like, like where's the water, guys? Um, you know, then she shares with her father that Polly has like a heart condition where his heart kind of skips and he's got to go get it checked out. And ultimately, he may need to get surgery, and there's concern there. Obviously, Dolores really, really likes Polly, and she goes out on a walk with her father, which is good to hear because I'm worried about her father. The fact that he
Mm-hmm.
walked into her home with a 2-liter Coke to drink, like what? Like it's water, like that's crazy to me. She walks with her father, and he says he's a good man. She deserves this. Like she's been stuck with Frank for so long, has put up with so much, like, and it's just good to hear that her father approves of Polly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and that's pretty much that from that scene. Then we get to Rachel, her husband Joe, Frank, his girl Dolores.
I didn't care about this scene.
We're at a baseball batting cage. Yeah, me either, but we'll just run through it really quick. Basically they're at a batting cage. They're just practicing before Dolores's softball charity event. And Frank is sad about his relationship with Dolores. Wait, was Dolores at this? I don't think she was. I don't know why I said she was. Sorry.
No, I think it was just
Ugh.
Frank and his girlfriend.
Frank and his girlfriend, my fault. Frank is sad about his relationship with Dolores, and he shares that with everyone in the group.
Cry.
Rachel shares what was said at Danielle's daughter's birthday party, that Margaret is better to have as a friend than as an enemy. Melissa's like, oh my God, Teresa's so fake. Like she hates Marge, she hates me, she hates Joe. And Rachel ultimately says like she's not trying to be influenced by anybody. Even if she is Melissa's friend, like she's not gonna be influenced by Melissa saying something like that, which is again good to hear. Like, she's
Mm-hmm.
not being
She has her own
influenced.
mind.
She has her own mind. She's gonna make her own decisions, which is good to
Right.
hear.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much that in that scene. Did you have like any thoughts about that? No.
I don't give a heck about any of those people.
Well, it was cute to see Dolores and her
Oh no,
dad
no, that
chatting.
we love that. Sorry,
Okay.
wait, I forgot. Like that was cute. And I
That
like
was
that
cute.
Dolores, like, her dad defends her and was like, you know, you're the one that raised your kids, and who cares if he's sad? Like, he had all that time to make things right, and he didn't. He treated you like shit. Now you're with somebody that actually loves you and like wants to treat you right, and of course he's upset. Like, yeah, I like that her dad stuck up for her and like approved
Yeah.
of Polly.
Yeah. So we move to the charity game. And I just love that Dolores is so charitable. Like the fact that she has done this year in and year out, like she's such a good woman for that. Like
Yeah.
you see it's a pattern with her, and I feel like it's truly genuine. Like she just wants to make things better in the world, and she's always been that way. You can see it every year. Like I don't know anyone that does charity. Like have we seen Melissa do a charity event? Have we seen
Nope.
Teresa do a charity event? No.
Nope.
Dolores's heart is unmatched, and that's on period. Okay, so everyone starts arriving. Danielle asks Marge if everything is okay with Jennifer and Teresa, um, because of the thing that happened before at Jen Fessler's house.
Mm-hmm.
Danielle starts sharing what Teresa had said about her, which I just felt was weird. She said that to Marge that it's better to be friends than enemies with you. And Marge says, and Danielle's just kind of confused like about the dynamics of everything. So she just goes to check in with Marge about like, is it okay if I'm friends with Jennifer while you guys are kind of going through it? Like I also don't want you to come after me, like, and use tea that you have on me. Like she goes in and like I just felt like she was doing a little too much. So
Me
like
too.
five chops for that to me, in my opinion. Um and then I don't know. I just feel like Danielle's trying to cover her ass here. But did you have any thoughts about this kind of scene here? Or am I missing something? I'm sure I am.
No, I mean, I thought that was a little weird too. Like, you're a grown woman. You're from Staten Island. Why are you asking people permission to be friends with other people?
Okay, that's tea.
We don't do
It's
that, and we're younger.
I mean it's tea, yeah. All right, so we move into the next scene. Jennifer arrives. I noticed that he gives Margaret a hug. And I'm like, dude, didn't she just tell you
Didn't
not to
she
do
just tell
this?
your ass to not be nice to this bitch?
What are we doing, bro? Bill,
Embarrassing.
7 chops. All right, so we move into Melissa and Joe arrive with their sons. Cute. Teresa and Louis arrive with Gia and Melania, I think. Yeah, I think Gia and Melania. Yeah. The Gorgas and the Judices are together for a moment. It was really cute to see them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were all
The
admiring the
cousins talking and stuff.
calendar. The cousins are
Yeah.
talking. It was really cute to see. And it's just sad that like now it's not the same anymore. That's kind of what I noticed. And then Rachel tells Jennifer at some point, I am doing a very poor job of running this scene because I don't really remember much, but Rachel eventually tells Jennifer that her daughter came up to her and said that she'd like to be a therapist. And Jennifer's really, really like sad about this because
Yeah.
it's a therapist, like a love therapist, because of what is going on
Sees the
with
problems with Jen and Bill.
and Jennifer's really, really sad about this, and she just is like brokenhearted about it. And because her daughter originally wanted to be on stage and now she wants to fix people's relationships. And that is sad to hear. I hate Marge. Did you
Marge
have any thoughts about
sucks.
did you have anything to say about that scene, or was I missing something?
No, I mean that's like a couple of my notes. I was like, Marge sucks. That's all. And then I also said Marge probably didn't mean anything by saying the whole ball player comment, but Melissa's talking about it. So clearly, like, Melissa felt some type of way about it. And Jackie felt some type of way about it. Or not Jackie, Danielle felt some type of way about it. So because Danielle was like, I would feel like you would think my marriage doesn't mean anything if you
Oh
said
yeah.
something like that to me, you know, like I would be like, yeah,
Oh,
like I
she
thought
brought
you.
that up in that conversation with Marge. I missed that. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. So everyone's always mad at Jennifer.
But Marge is messy and people are not clocking her for that.
She's a messy bitch.
She is messy. She keeps the show
Mhm.
running though, so I'm not that mad at it. I guess. I don't know. All right.
I'll be
So
mad for the both of us.
yeah. All right. So we move into the next scene. Everyone kind of asks where Polly is, and Dolores shares that he is out for surgery. Everyone's like, what? Like heart surgery. And Melissa was like, oh, I thought it was because Frank was there. 7 chops for you. Um, Joe brings up the fact that the dynamics with Frank and Dolores are different, and he's really sad about it. And Frank ultimately confirms his feeling, and he was crying the other day about it because she's kind of been short with him through text messages, phone calls, doesn't answer them. And she's really trying to set a boundary with him. And she's
Mhm.
ultimately standing her ground with him and says it can't be what it was anymore because she loves Polly and she just, you know, the priorities are different. And
Like she
Frank
just has to
is
respect him.
so sad about it, like a freaking loser. Literally, like she gave you 20 years of her life. Like,
He's acting like they're still married, or
right,
just separated. Like
right.
you guys literally got a divorce like 20 years ago. You guys weren't even together when your youngest was born. So like,
Yeah. It's very codependent,
it's
I
very
think,
weird.
and very
Yeah.
weird. And he's just got to do better at respecting
He's
boundaries.
saying all this in front of his girlfriend. Like
Yeah.
that's the other thing. Is like, and his girlfriend doesn't really feel weird about it because she's seen the dynamic between them, and it's also like the dynamic that everyone else sees. But also like, can you please respect that Dolores is going into a new relationship, and she literally cannot give you that same type of attention anymore. Like she has to give that to someone else, and she wants to give that to someone else. She's done
Mhm.
with your ass. Like it's so weird.
Yeah.
Do we
And
know
I think
any
it's
other divorced
so,
couple like this?
yeah. And I think it's so weird that Joe and Melissa and I don't know who else was in that
They're
group, but
feeding
like they're
into it,
all trying to like support Frank through this and they're trying to like
and they like Polly.
sway Dolores
Yeah, and I'm like,
into continuing the friendship with or continuing having that friendship with Frank. And it's like, dude, like, no, let her like, respect her feelings. Like, that's so
literally,
weird. It's been weird. Like,
it's really weird. It's really weird.
yeah. All right, so the game continues, and then we get into Teresa and her kids talking to her nephew. And then we get into Gia having a confessional, and she kind of
Pissed me off.
she pissed me off too, right? Like I don't know. She just feels like she she feels like her uncle is putting a wedge in between the kids and
And that's
her. And I
Teresa
just feel
talking to
like
her.
and I feel like that's Teresa talking to her. And I just feel like Gia, you're 20 something years old.
You just don't get
You
it.
have your cousin's phone number. You can call, you can text them. Like you don't need to talk mess about your uncle and auntie about this. Like you are a grown woman yourself now. If you want to have a friendship with your cousins, you can. Are they dodging
Mm-hmm.
your phone calls? Like if you feel that way, give us some examples. Are they dodging your phone calls? Are they not wanting to hang out with you? What is it? Like why are you saying this? Um yeah, I didn't like that. I don't know. Maybe like
Me too.
I just feel like that was a lie. 3 chops for you, Gia. Did you have any thoughts about that scene?
All I said was fuck Frank and his feelings, LOLs.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. All right. I guess we get to the last scene of this episode. We get into Jennifer and Bill talking to a counselor. This is inspired by the comment that their daughter had made about being a therapist. I think Bill felt guilty about it, and now he feels like he's interested in doing counseling now. He's interested in doing counseling now because of it affecting their child. Um, the therapist comes in off the jump. I just feel like Bill just doesn't feel interested, and
Yeah.
he's only going because of Olivia. Jennifer shares what she's going through with Bill, and that how her kids have been affected from this affair from years ago. Bill feels that because of the affair, he can't be the father that he wants to be, which is,
Pushy.
trying to be, I think he's just trying to
A good
instill
father.
work ethic,
Discipline.
discipline, and things of that nature. And that's fair. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's a fair thing. And I think he's a little bit frustrated with the fact that Jennifer is being too nice to the kids, not being
Like spoiling them.
like spoiling them, letting them get away with things. And she's doing this because she feels guilty about how how the affair information came out and how they're kind of maneuvering life through that. Like, it's tough for them, I think. Or she's seeing that it's tough for them. So she's just spoiling them as much as she can. And then she ultimately shares that she does most of the parenting, and Bill just kind of stays away for the most part, and he stays in the pool house. And I'm like, wow, Marge really knows everyone's tea, because she said this years ago, triggered the hell out of Jennifer in that moment.
She's like, hit a nerve. And she did hit a nerve.
She did hit a nerve. And it's kind of like Jennifer's kind of clicking down, because like she does this thing where she tries to make everyone believe that her marriage is amazing. And like now we're really seeing in this therapy thing,
it's cracking,
that it's cracked. It's not chipped. We're not cracked.
We're not cracked. Oh, we're shattered.
Mariah.
That's literally what it is. But I mean, like, I don't think that, like, that's her problem at the beginning, is like, no marriage is perfect, no relationship is perfect. So like, if you just accept the fact that you know that it's not perfect, it probably would have been easier to accept the fact that like he cheated, even though it was really shitty that he cheated while you were pregnant. That's I've cut men off for less in the Bravo universe, so I don't really understand like why we're still tolerating Bill, because that's really shitty.
It is really shitty, and I feel like she was put in a difficult position because she has 4 kids by this man. He has a lot of money. She is completely supported by Bill. So maybe that's one of the reasons why she stayed. And now that this is all out by Marge, it's like she's now realizing like, maybe I'm not happy. Maybe I should have left. Maybe like, now that this is all resurfacing, like I think these are ideas that she has in her head. But throughout this whole counseling session, Bill was pretty much silent during the whole thing. Like he didn't really share anything.
Or like laughing nervously.
Yeah, and Jennifer seems to be very, very upset. Like she doesn't feel appreciated, lonely, unvalued, or things that I feel like are coming out here. And it seems like she's at her breaking point. I think that's what she said. And Bill just seems so irritated by all of this, like being out on TV about it. I feel like maybe like if it wasn't on TV, he'd probably be more open. I don't know though. She said in this that every time he's quiet. And so
yeah, it's probably embarrassed.
I think it's cultural, like too, where I don't know. I know with my parents, like they're foreign, and feelings aren't like a real thing for them. Like they don't know how to express them, because like they grew up not saying that. Yeah. So I think it might be that, but it was a very eye-opening thing to see there. Like I used to think Bill was in this like great light, but like he is kind of clicking down. So 8 chops for you, Bill. What were your thoughts? Sorry.
If I've learned anything from the past 2 weeks, it's that we should never put men on Bravo on a pedestal.
Never. You should never put any man on a pedestal, period. Like they're not generally worth it. Like, I'm sorry.
Phil gets a million chops from me.
Yeah, he's almost at the point of getting infinite chops.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was that episode. I think that was that. So I think we're done unless you have any other thoughts. No. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that was that episode. Episode 6. We'll be back next week with episode 7. Oh, okay. Like, what did I do? We'll be back next week with episode 7. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe here today. We appreciate you for watching. Hope you have the best day. Take care, y'all. Bye.